So today I wanted to talk to you about what it's like to live life in functional freeze. There was a time in my life where I kind of felt like I was watching someone else live my life for me. Like my body was there, I was doing things, I was getting things done, but I was like three emotions removed from being a regular person. So recovering from CPTSD and unhealed childhood trauma from the past kind of feels like your protective self is driving your body and your life for you, but your soul, your essence of who you really are, is hiding out in the trunk. Or maybe it's hogtied and thrown in the trunk. So if you personally have been through any kind of complex trauma for whatever reason, you know what I'm talking about. This is going to ring a bell. So today we're going to talk about what it means to live life in a state of functional freeze, how it affects every aspect of your life. We're going to understand why it happens, and most importantly, how to start thawing out. So without further ado, let's dive in. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Michelle. I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner and the founder of the School of Transformation, which is where I meet live on Zoom every week and I do the inner work with survivors from all over the world of childhood trauma together. Here on my YouTube channel, we talk about what healing is about, what it looks like, the symptoms of unhealed trauma. But in the School of Transformation, we do the inner healing together. So if you're ready to take the next step, make sure you join me weekly on Zoom. When you're living in a state of functional freeze, it's so easy to look at yourself in a negative way. It's so easy to say, oh, I must be lazy. I don't have any willpower, to feel weak. And if you don't feel that way, other people might make you feel that way. But the reality is, the truth of the matter is, when it comes to functional freeze, this has nothing to do with weakness. This has nothing to do with laziness. And it has everything to do with being stuck in a trauma response. Your nervous system isn't broken. It's desperately trying to protect you. In fact, it's inflicting on you a type of emotional anesthesia. So why do people get anesthesia in the first place? Well, if you're having surgery, you're going to get that anesthesia so you don't feel any pain. Well, guess what? If you were living in a circumstance in childhood that was chaotic, that was confusing, that was neglectful, and there was no support, well, then your protective self, part of your survival brain, stepped in and said, well, no one on the outside is helping. So I'm going to step in and give this body some emotional anesthesia, AKA the freeze trauma response, to deal with the pain that is too big for this child to go through. You see, when you're growing up in a chaotic or an unsafe environment, especially with emotional abuse or neglect, then your nervous system learns that it's not safe to feel your feelings, it's not safe to express yourself, and it's not even safe to be an authentic person. And it quickly learns, since you're a child, that the go-to trauma responses of our nervous system, which are fight or flight, they don't work because you're too small to fight and you're too small to flee and run away. So your nervous system's like, okay, well, let's go into freeze. And so it's almost like your body presses a pause on you living your life so that you can simply survive your life. And here's the thing, you can be high functioning and still be in freeze. You might hold down a job, you might be raising kids, you might be able to hit deadlines, but your body, your emotions, your sense of aliveness feels shut down. And so some signs that you might be in functional freeze are you might be tired all the time, even after resting. You might feel emotionally flat. I know with myself, it was like all of a sudden there was no fluctuation in my voice. It just went really flat. You might feel disconnected from your wants, from your needs. Life is happening around you, but not with you. And you might even be wondering, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I feel? I need jumper cables to start feeling again. But that's functional freeze. The world is vibrant, but you experience it muted. It's like watching your life through frosted glass. If this is resonating with you, I know that you're probably frustrated. You're probably angry at your body. You're probably viewing the self-sabotage as if it's the enemy, the freeze as if it's the enemy. But the truth is that your body is working overtime to try to protect you from overwhelm and from strong feelings that you were too small and young to feel when you were a child. And the more you power through it, The more you try to force your body, the more you get angry, the more you get frustrated, while extremely understandable, the reality is that only locks up your nervous system even more. Now, the good news is that just like you can come out of anesthesia, we can come out of the emotional anesthesia of freeze. But it's not by doing it those old ways of trying to power through, trying to whip our body into shape. We have to approach it differently. And so just like anesthesia wears off slowly, so does the freeze response. You can't rush it, and you don't even need to be honest. Coming out of freeze takes gentle, consistent safety. Not a huge, powerful one moment breakthrough, but rather a series of small openings, moments where your body starts to trust again. It starts tasting safety in small doses, and it can notice, oh, that was safe. I felt something and I'm okay. Nothing bad happened. So working with your body, working with functional freeze on this slow, consistent level, I feel like it tends to go against everything that we want to do. And it's understandable. I know with myself, taking it slow made me feel like, oh, this is going to take forever. And that was the last thing I wanted. Then the other thing I thought was, well, why do I have to take it slow? I know I'm safe. My mind very easily knew that the trauma was over. The abusive people were gone. I was no longer a child. I knew that on a cognitive level. But it took me a while to realize that just because I know it cognitively doesn't mean that the body knows it. And that's where we start working with our mind and our body together, not forcing the body to wake up prematurely, but doing so at a pace that's comfortable for the body. Because coming out of functional freeze in a slow manner is actually very wise, because the body knows that functional freeze doesn't mean you're not feeling anything. It means there is so much emotion and so much stuck survival energy that it's too much for your body to handle. And so coming out of it in a slow way allows you to easily come back home into the body instead of like ripping that Band-Aid off, which I think we want to do. But if we were to do that, let me tell you, if we were to do that, the amount of emotional dysfunction could be so flooding and so overwhelming that now we've re-traumatized ourselves even more. And so the next time we try to heal will be even harder because the body remembers, oh, when you heal, that happens, you do that. So now I'm going to give you even more emotional anesthesia. Because remember, now you on your healing journey have overwhelmed the body, and the body's going to do everything it can to help you to avoid that intense overwhelm, including stopping you from healing if it leads to overwhelm. So I hope that made sense. The other thing to keep in mind is that the mind and the body have different languages. So the mind can look around and say, oh, the abusers are gone. My life is different. I'm not in the same place. But the body still has the felt sense of danger. And no amount of telling the body, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, is going to help, because the body will only learn when it feels and experiences safety on a body level. So that's the other thing. We get frustrated because we know one thing, but we can't seem to help it to sink down so that we can embody it. Working with your felt sense is the key. The other challenge with working with functional freeze is that we often want to know, okay, what do I do? Tell me what to do so I can do it and then I can heal. But the reality is that working with functional freeze on our own is too challenging. I kind of liken it to when you're getting in shape at the gym. If somebody is in already halfway decent shape and they just want to get a little bit more toned, they might be able to do it on their own. But if someone needs to lose 100 pounds, then it's not just about toning, it's a whole different mindset and lifestyle that they are rewiring in order to get into shape. And that usually requires some extra assistance. Now, kudos to those that don't need that. That's wonderful. But the reality is that oftentimes the higher degree of change needed, it's just too challenging to do on our own. And it's the same thing with our nervous system. For somebody that doesn't have a traumatized nervous system, working with certain symptoms that might come up, we can often do that on our own. But if we have a traumatized nervous system and we're trying to find and strengthen an inner felt sense of safety where there currently isn't one, then the benefit of having help from the outside is one, co-regulation, because that person's nervous system can help yours also being able to learn how to apply the tools that we know with our mind can take a little bit of time. It can take a little bit of tweaking. So having somebody to be able to witness that and help you along the way is helpful as well, which is why I put together the School of Transformation. It's a monthly membership where I consider it like nervous system rehab. And it's here in our live weekly meetings that I teach somatic practices that can help you to come out of freeze without overwhelming your nervous system. We use simple body-based exercises to rebuild our connection to our internal world, to discover what safety feels like on the inside, helping our nervous system to taste it. We gently pendulate between numbness and emotion so that we can build the capacity to feel again. And then we learn how to give our body permission to feel again little by little. Because bottom line, healing isn't about pushing through and shoving our body. It's about slowing down enough to let your body catch up to where your mind knows that you are. So if you're living life in functional freeze, please don't shame yourself. And don't try to rip off the anesthesia. Instead, learn how to gently thaw. And you can learn how to do that in the School of Transformation.